Welcome to Hannity. An alarming new report from the House Judiciary Committee. In 2021, believe it or not, your federal government began asking banks to sift through private transactions from millions of Americans and search for terms like Trump and MAGA, which banks voluntarily handed over that information, and what did the DOJ do with it? Now, the House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan will join us with more on this Orwellian and, frankly, dangerous breach of personal privacy. Now, needless to say, the 2024 election cannot happen soon enough. Now, thankfully, we are just 6 days away from the New Hampshire primary. Now, one important note, unlike many other primaries, the Granite State allows independents and Democrats who register as independents to participate in the Republican race. Over 4,000 Democrats, by the way, they're now independent. They're going to want to vote. It looks like those votes are being directed towards former Ambassador Nikki Haley. She's performing well among those two groups. Expectations are high. But as of tonight, Donald Trump maintains a large lead in the state of New Hampshire. According to the latest Boston Globe Suffolk University poll, Trump is up by 16. The Anselm University poll just came out. Trump up by 13. Now, all of the Republican candidates, including Trump, they're outperforming Biden in the general election, especially true in the key battleground states like Michigan, Arizona, and Nevada. Now, tonight, a rare moment of clarity from the vice president. That's Vice President Harris. Let's take a look.
Are you scared, first of all, what could happen if Trump ever became, God forbid, president again? And what are you going to do to stop the crazies?
I am scared as heck.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm traveling our country. You know, there's an old saying that there are only two ways to run for office, either without an opponent or scared. So on all of those points, yes, we should all be scared.
Yeah.
But as we know, and certainly this is a table of very powerful women, we don't run away from something when we're scared. We fight back against it.
Maybe you should be scared about the unvetted 10 million illegal immigrants that your administration is allowing into the country. Maybe you should be scared about war in Europe and threats against NATO allies. Maybe you should be scared about war in the Middle East as you pressure Israel to give up their fight against radical terrorists that took place there. Now, she is right. They should be running scared. The Biden-Harris ticket now has two colossal hurdles to overcome. First, Joe Biden, well, we all know. It's very obvious. It's very clear. He's just not mentally competent. And every day, America's oldest president keeps getting worse right before our eyes. He needs help walking. He needs help talking. The First Lady reportedly not only helping him out stage left or stage right, but also helping him with his daily schedule. He gets up late, goes to bed early, takes more vacations than any president in the modern era. We barely see him in public, holds almost no political rallies, rarely conducts press conferences or shows up for a serious interview. He does go to Delaware an awful lot, spends more time on vacation than any other president, as I said, in the modern era. Naturally, most people seem to view Biden as president in name only. And this brings us to the second hurdle to re-election. Whoever is running the show at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, they're doing a terrible job. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Their decision-making is historically bad. Their policies result in one crisis after another. The American people, you can all see personally and feel this rolling disaster every single day. Every time you fill up at your gas station, every time you buy groceries, every time you go out to eat, every time you order Grubhub, you feel the impact of Biden inflation. Every time you look for a new house, a new car, or pay rent, or open a credit card bill, you know the burden of Bidenomics. And every single time you see illegal immigrants pouring into our country unvetted, enjoying taxpayer-funded housing, transportation, education, and health care, you should feel betrayed because they're not enforcing the laws. He's not upholding his oath for our Constitution. And now a new palpable fear, World War III. as violence and carnage overseas, it gets worse and worse and worse. And you don't have to be a MAGA superfan to realize America is simply not better off under Biden. There's not a single thing I can point to that is, they implemented a policy that's successful. I can't think of one. The chairman, the CEO of J.P. Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon, definitely not a conservative. He previously donated to Democrats, was closely linked to former Obama insiders, but now even Jamie Dimon has a stark warning for the Biden campaign. Take a look at this.
Now, if you look, just take a step back, be honest. He was kind of right about NATO, kind of right about immigration. Mm-hmm. He grew the economy quite well.
China virus.
Tax reform worked. Mm-hmm. He was right about some of China. I don't like what he did.
No, I said China virus.
Yeah, I understand. He may have been right. And I don't like how he said things about Mexico. I don't like, but he wasn't wrong about some of these critical issues. And that's why they're voting for him. The Democrats have done a pretty good job with the deplorables, hugging onto their Bibles and their beer and their guns. I mean, really? Like, could we just stop that stuff and actually grow up and treat other people with respect and listen to them a little bit? And I do think the economy will affect. And I think this negative talk about MAGA is going to hurt Biden's election campaign.
Democracy in peril. January 6th, Trump is evil. By the way, President Trump was right. Notice that Dimon made those remarks on CNBC. He didn't even get pushback. Now, it is increasingly difficult for the media mob to do the heavy lifting for Joe Biden, but make no mistake, they will try their best. And according to a recent study, look at this from Syracuse, only 3.4% of, quote, journalists, most of them are not journalists, claim to be Republicans. The other 96% are likely either rooting against Trump or actively working in conjunction with the Democratic Party. They're an extension of the press office of the DNC and Joe Biden. They just don't hate Donald Trump. They also despise any American that supports him and everyone that doesn't buy into their twisted worldview. And right on cue, you got both fake news CNN, MSDNC refusing to take, God forbid we hear from the historic winner of Iowa and hear his speech in full. Senator Marco Rubio responded on X saying, quote, U.S. media refusing to carry Trump's speech live last night after a historic Iowa victory is exactly how undemocratic regimes abroad use state-run media to try to delegitimize, dismiss, discredit their political opposition. Democrats, the mob and the media, no longer care about facts. They don't care about logic. The only thing they seem to care about, is narrative and power. And as George Orwell famously wrote, quote, whatever the party holds to be the truth is the truth. It is impossible to see reality except looking through the eyes of the party. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.